Hi students, in my last videos I did the glass lab activity. From that glass lab activity we comes to know the definition of refractive index, absolute refractive index and various topics. Let us discuss now the topic of Snell's law by using semicircular glass slab activity. Semicircular glass slab activity. The next aim is we are going to obtain a relation between angle of incidence and angle of refraction. Why? Because angle of incidence sometimes is equal to angle of refraction, sometimes angle of incidence is greater than angle of refraction. For example, say if the light ray travels from rarer to denser, it should not travel like this, it bends towards the normal. If the light ray travels from denser to rarer, denser medium to rarer medium at a particular angle of incidence, our estimation should be like that, but it is deviating away from the normal. That we already proved and that we already comes to know. By using the activity that is nothing but Snell's law, again we are going to prove the relation, and again from this Snell's law we will comes to know sin I by sin R is always a constant. That constant is equal to the refractive index n, that is equal to C by V. The relation between n and V can be also written as n2 by n1 is equals to V1 by V2. Sin I by sin R is equals to n2 by n1 is equals to V1 by V2. If you cross multiply by using these two, we can get n1 sin I is equals to n2 sin R. n1 sin I is equals to n2 sin R. This law is called Snell's law. Now, by using the following activity, we are going to explain the concept of Snell's law. To do this activity, we required a semicircular glass slab. Semicircular glass slab, a protractor, laser light gun, scale, compass with pencil, white paper, thermocol sheet and needles. Number of the needles that depending upon our choice. In the first step of the activity, what should we do is, by taking the paper, we should draw a horizontal line and a vertical line like this. A horizontal line mm, horizontal line is mm and the vertical line is nn. Horizontal line is mm and vertical line is nn. The center point is represented as O. Now I have the compass. Basing on the compass, we should draw a circle from the center O. What I did? I drawn a circle from the center O, from the meeting point of horizontal line mm and vertical line nn. Now from the center we should place the protractor at the center, that is O. I placed the protractor. If you observe, this total circle is divided into 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1, quadrant 2, 3 and 4. Now I am going to bifurcate each quadrant into the form of angles. How? If we consider this one value as 0 degrees and this is 10 degrees, 20 degrees, 30 degrees, 40 degrees, 50 degrees, 60, 70, 80, and this absolutely becomes 90. Once again you observe this is 0, 10 degrees, 20 degrees, 30 degrees, 40 degrees, 50 degrees, 60, 70, 80, and as well as this becomes 90. Now by removing this protractor and by placing the scale, we should join the center and that particular point. Now we can get a line. This means these lines make an angle of 10 degrees from this normal. Now this ON act as a normal and this is nothing but 10 degrees. And once again if you draw like this, it becomes 20 degrees. Next one, this becomes 30 degrees. And the next one, it becomes 40 degrees. And the next one, it becomes 50 degrees. Like this, we should do both in the case of quadrant 1 and as well as quadrant 3. That means we are bifurcating the given concept or given circle into the form of quadrants as we already see in the textbook. Here a circle is given. That circle is nothing but pro-circle. First of all, they are drawn a line mm and as well as a drawn line nn, and then from the center they are drawn a circle. That circle and is divided into the angles. Those circle, finally what we got is called pro-circle. Now our experimental setup is ready. This circle what we drawn is called pro-circle. Pro-circle. Now I am ready with my pro-circle. Now I taken the semicircular glass slab of thickness 2 centimeters. I placed the semicircular glass slab. The condition is its diameter of the semicircular glass slab must coincides with line. Diameter of the semicircular glass slab must coincides with line. Sometimes while doing the activity, the glass slab may displace from its place. So without displacing the glass slab from its place, what I am doing is I am drawing the boundary surface. After drawing the boundary surface, place a pin at point O. And without moving this, then we can fix one more pin like this also. Why? Because there is no use of that pin, but only for standby purpose only we should kept. Now here one more pin also for protection purpose only. These two pins are protection purpose. Now we have one laser light. We should pass the laser light from base to curve. Base to curve means whenever you put the laser light on the light ray which is indicating 0 degrees angle, and by pressing this, the light ray is traveling through the pin, and then the light ray entered into the glass slab. After that it is entered into the curved surface. Means the light ray is traveling from air to glass. Means the light ray is traveling from rarer to denser at an angle of 0 degrees. Now by taking one more pin, I am going to identify at what angle the light ray is coming. If you observe clearly, the laser that is coming from air and enter into the glass at an angle of 0 degrees and entered into the air that is through the curved surface at an angle of 0. Now I am going to represent this in this table. In the table what are there? I is there, means angle of incidence and angle of refraction. Angle of incidence and angle of refraction. Later I taken sin I, that is nothing but sin of angle of incidence. Later I taken sin of angle of refraction to the 0 degrees. Angle I is 0 and angle R is also 0. Sir, why you kept the pin here? That is nothing but if we pass the light ray at 0 degrees and the light ray is also came outside that particular angle. Now in the second case, pass the laser light at an angle of 10 degrees. Pass the laser light means like this we pressed. Now the laser light is passing. Now we are going to observe the refracted ray. At what angle the refracted ray is coming? If you observe, the laser is passing through that pin. Means here angle of incidence is 10 degrees and the angle of refraction, angle of incidence from air is 10 degrees, angle of refraction approximate value is 9 degrees. Like that, again I noted in the table, here angle of incidence is 10 degrees, angle of refraction is 9 degrees. Then once again place, see here, this is the first case and this becomes the second case. In the first case the laser is passed from 0 degrees line. In the next case the laser is passed from 10 degrees. Then in the third case, means in the serial number 3, the laser should pass at an angle of 20 degrees from air to glass, that is base to curve, that is from rarer to denser. Now I am going to identify at what angle the light ray is to be refracted. If you observe, the light ray is passed. It may be from here to here 10 degrees and here it may be of a maximum of otherwise 16 degrees or 17 degrees. So if you observe this, angle of incidence is 20 degrees and angle of refraction is 16 degrees. Then pass the laser light at an angle of 30 degrees. If you pass the laser light through the glass slab, that is semicircular glass slab, from air to glass, that is from rarer to denser, that is from base to curve, at an angle of 30 degrees, approximate angle of refraction. Approximate angle of refraction may be 30 degrees approximate angle. See here, up to here 10 degrees and this is 20 degrees. Approximate angle may be 21 degrees or otherwise 22 degrees. Now I am going to note down those values of angle of incidence and as well as angle of refraction in the table what I already shown. In the case of the textbook, this may be the values and as well as table. See in this table what is there? I is there, that means angle of incidence. R is there, angle of refraction. Next we should consider sine of angle of incidence, means we should take the value of sine for I and sine R angle of refraction we should consider. Then again we should take sine I by sine R. So regarding every angle of incidence we should consider angle of refraction. Now again pass the laser light. Now once again here 2, this value becomes 3 and this value becomes 4. Here also we can write 1, 2, 3, 4. Means we completed up to the angle of incidence is 30 degrees. Now once again if you move to the angle of incidence, that is 40 degrees, angle of incidence is 40 and angle of refraction, again we are going to find out the angle of refraction easily. So here for 40 degrees angle of refraction maybe it's nearer to 30, means it may be 28 or otherwise 27, like that approximate values will be. Means for every angle of incidence we are measuring the angle of refraction. Now this value becomes how much? Fifth value. So here also fifth value. Next angle of incidence is 50, that value becomes 6. Now pass the laser light at an angle of 50 degrees through the pin. Now once again I am going to observe the angle of refraction. Angle of refraction for 50 degrees approximately it is of 32 degrees. See here, angle of incidence is increasing but angle of refraction is not equal to the angle of incidence. It is bending, means it is less. If you observe here, our view is if the angle of incidence is 50, angle of refraction also must be 50, but it is 32. Means here if you observe, if the light ray is traveling at an angle of 50 degrees
approximation is 50, but here the original value is 32. This means angle of incidence is greater than the angle of refraction, or angle of refraction is less than the angle of incidence whenever a light ray is travel from air to glass. So by using this experiment, we can find out, or we can prove that angle of refraction is less than the angle of incidence whenever a light ray is traveling from rarer to denser. Once again observe here, if you put an angle that is at 60 degrees, what happens? If the angle of incidence is 60, we are going to measure the angle of refraction that is at approximately. Even for 60 also, approximate angle here 30 degrees and as well as 40. It is nearer to 40, means around 38 degrees or something will be there. Means angle of incidence is 60 and angle of, this is number 7 value. Here also we are going to represent it as 7. See once again, angle of incidence is 0, angle of refraction is 0. Means light ray strikes the surface at an angle of normal. So there is no refraction. If the light ray strikes the surface, there is no refraction. If once again you move to the angle of incidence is 70. If the angle of incidence is 70 like this, and what is the value of angle of refraction? It is approximately here. Angle of incidence is 70. After crossing this value is there, after crossing that, we can get that value. It is approximately 43 degrees. Approximate angle only we are going to consider. Like that only, if you consider the value of for 80, for 80 also approximate angle is 45 or otherwise 46 degrees. Now you consider angle of incidence is 90, means the light ray grazing the interface of air and glass, grazing the intersurface of air and glass, means it is touching along the surface, then it is not at all deviated. If you observe in two cases, that is, if the light ray strikes the surface interface at an angle of 90 degrees, or if the light ray travel through the interface, means it is touching the interface of both air and as well as glass. In these two cases, light ray does not deviate from its path. Once again, if you observe, if the light ray strikes the surface, if the light ray strikes the surface at an angle of 0 degrees, this means at 90 degrees, or at an angle means it is touching the interface that is parallel to the interface, the light ray does not deviate. This is the first rule. And the second principle what we learned is, if the light ray travel from air to glass, that is from rarer to denser, base to curve, at an angle of 10 degrees, angle of refraction is 9 degrees. 20 degrees, angle of refraction is approximately 16 degrees. At 30 degrees, angle of refraction may be, angle of refraction may be here 30 degrees, 20 degrees, 40 degrees, 29 degrees, 50, 22. Then by using the calculator, I calculated the value of sin I and sin R. Later in the third column, we taken sin I by sin R. The average of sin I by sin R is 11.668 by 9. Average of sin I by sin R is 11.668 by 9. Why by 9 I taken? The formula is nothing but total number of ingredients, means sum of the values by total number of the values. By average value, if you consider, we can get a constant, that is sin I by sin R is a constant. The value is nothing but 1.29. That means this constant 1.29 is nothing but refractive index, is nothing but the refractive index of this semicircular glass slab. Refractive index of the semicircular glass slab. How? Here if you come to the textbook, here we can say that find sin I, sin R for every I and R values. Evaluate means calculate sin I by sin R for every angle of incidence. Okay, we calculated. What here? Finally, we will get the ratio, that is sin A by sin R is a constant. That means sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction is always constant. K is nothing but constant. That constant is nothing but refractive index. Here only the given. Is this ratio equal to refractive index of glass? Yes, the ratio is equal to refractive index of glass. So from this, what are the conclusions? If the light ray travels at an angle of 0 degrees, there is no deviation. If a light ray travels along the interface, then also there is no deviation. If the light ray travels at a particular angle from air to glass, that is from rarer to denser, or from base to curve, angle of refraction is less than the angle of incidence. This concept, we can say that sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction is always constant. This constant is equal to the refractive index. In CBSE curriculum, n is represented by letter mu. I already said. Means in this experiment, I calculated the mu of this glass slab as 1.29. So this concept, the ratio of sine of angle of incidence, the ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction is always constant. That constant is called refractive index. This refractive index depends on the nature of this material. Means from material to material refractive index changes, and it is also depends on the temperature. Refractive index depends on the temperature and at the same time nature of the material, and at the same time what the light what we used, that is also depends on. This total concept was given by Dr. Snell. So this law is called Snell's law. Finally, what is the statement of Snell's law? Snell's law states that the ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction is always a constant. That constant is equal to the refractive index of the glass slab. Thank you. From the table, what we understood is, if the light ray travels from air to glass, that is from rarer to denser, through the semicircular glass slab, here angle of incidence is 0 and angle of refraction is also 0. If this value is 90, this value also becomes 90. And here, if the angle of incidence is 10 degrees and the angle of estimated angle is 10 degrees, estimated angle is 10 degrees, but original angle is 90 degrees. Means whenever a light ray travels from air to glass, that is from rarer to denser, angle of refraction is less. Angle R is less than angle I. That is only they asked in the case of lab activity, obtaining relation between angle of incidence and angle of refraction. Here, if the light ray travels from rarer to denser, it is proved that angle of refraction is less than the angle of incidence. And again, if you observe here, the angle of incidence is 20 degrees. If the angle of incidence is 20 degrees, estimated angle of refraction is 20, but it is not 20, it is less than 20, approximately 16 degrees. And again, if you move here, means here the angle, now what I did for different kinds of angles, we did the graph work. If you consider the light ray is traveling from air to glass, that is semicircular glass slab at an angle of 30 degrees, estimated angle is 30, means at 30 degrees it is fallen, 30 degrees it should come out, but it is bended towards the normal at an angle of approximately 21 degrees. Then if you consider here in this case, angle of incidence is 80 degrees, I consider angle of incidence is 80. Angle of refraction is 45 only. This means angle R is always less than angle I. And here, if the light ray grazes the interface line of air and glass, there is no deviation. So in two cases the light ray totally does not deviate in all the cases, that is whenever the light ray strikes the surface at an angle of 90 degrees, or when the light ray grazes the interface of the two optically dispersive media, there is no deviation of the light ray. This is totally what we proved is sin I by sin R is always a constant, that is nothing but n, refractive index. This value is equal to C by V. Why? Because yesterday we already said refractive index n is equal to C by V. This law is called Snell's law. Once again, the Snell's law is nothing but sin I. Here, final thing in the case of textbook page number 49, what do you conclude from these observations? That is sin I by sin R is equal to constant. That constant is nothing but n, that is equals to C by V. From this we can write n2 by n1 is equal to v1 by v2. That's what we already given earlier. Now this law is called Snell's law.